Hello, this is Disclaimer Bot 5000. There will be no disclaimer on this episode, because I am going to a robot party. Watch your mouths, boys. Bitches be warned.
We're going to do this, but we're going to do it our way.
You bought a robot, baby?
Wow, that was a joke grenade. That took me a second. Imagine the poop emoji as furniture.
It's weird that we didn't do that 10 minutes ago.
We should have started that before, you know. That makes a lot of sense. Why wouldn't we do that?
Too late now.
Matt, you forgot to disclaimer this part. We're old, and we remember how it used to be. There, go. And it was better then, too. You got to put that in there. Ice is back with my brand new invention. Something grabs a hold of me tightly.
While you guys are weaving belts, I'm going to sing this little tune that I wrote.
We think we're funny. On with the show.
This is XRadioX.
Well, Matt, I hit record. It
Hello.
looks like it's time for episode 19.
Is this thing still working?
I think it's still working. It's episode 19 of XRadioX. It's our little podcast that we do.
Great to
you
be
may
back.
remember us from a month ago.
Yeah, exactly. It's great to be back. How you been, buddy?
I've been pretty good. Very busy.
Excellent.
Lots of stuff going on. You know, end of summer stuff when you have kids.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you have kids because
Right.
I've met them, so you can't fool me
It's
anymore.
true.
You know, now like school sports start, and this
Yeah.
is always something that bothers me, and I won't take too long on this. But school starts at the end of August here in mid-Michigan.
Yeah.
But school sports starts at the beginning of August.
That's cheating.
So if you have kids in sports, pretty much school starts at the beginning of August. So I'm
Mhm.
like, just send them back to class and make it a little easier on everybody. I mean, I know the kids would hate it, but as you can tell, I really don't care if they hate it or not. It's inconveniencing me.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
All right.
what have you been up to?
So my oldest is actually in flag football, so we've been doing that as well. It's probably surprising to you, but yeah, he's playing football and he's loving it.
Well, he takes after his mother.
Right, exactly. Back to normal work, pretty much. No longer on the chain gang, so yeah, getting some semblance of normalcy in our lives as we, navigate what's happening in the world. But we have somebody special on today. This is great. Yeah, we're excited. So we did back-to-back interviews because we've been getting people, in case you are new to the podcast, we've been getting people, friends of ours from WUPX, people who were DJs with us, who had that shared life experience. And we've been bringing them on to reconnect and to chat and to hear their thoughts about, that time of their lives and how it maybe changed them and how it affected them and how it, altered the course of their human history. And today we have our friend Dave Cole, aka the Toaster, on the show. Dave, how you doing?
Good. How you guys doing?
We're great. It's so good to see you. We don't do this on video. We don't do the podcast video, but it's nice to see you and you look the exact same as you did in college. So that's pretty cool.
It's easy to say it's been at least 24 years, I think, since we've seen each other. So
yeah, that's incredible.
Yes. I feel like let's see. I'm doing the math in my head because I think you graduated a year or two before Matt and I got out. So yeah, it's at least 24 years. Holy cow.
It's ridiculous.
And I know you said you have gray hair in there somewhere, but I'm telling you folks, if you knew Dave in college, he looks exactly the same.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, I don't even look close to this. I look like my grandfather, and none of you knew him, so I might as well be a stranger to most of you. So
time has passed, obviously. What have you been doing? Whatever you care to share. What have you been doing?
I've got us recording again, so if
sure. I'm still baking bagels at the Internet Bagel Cafe there in 3rd Street in Marquette.
That much. Perfect.
It's not a bakery or a bagel shop anymore, but my ghost is haunting that place now. So let's see. So after graduating from Northern, Colleen Schmidt, who is now Colleen Cole, and I moved down to Madison, Wisconsin, lived there for a couple of years, and did jobs that had something to do with our career paths that we set out for from college. And then after that, we went back up to Marquette for a little while. And then 2001, we moved out to Boston area following after Kent Randell and Jen Wilkie, who were out here. Kent was out here before us. He helped find me a job, actually. And I started working at Boston University because he got there and threw my name out there for a job, and it all worked out. So I moved out here. Awesome. Colleen and Jen followed us shortly after, and we have been out in this area ever since. So it's been great. I worked at the university for a long time, and then just in the last couple of years, I switched jobs and couldn't be happier. So just recently bought a house. A couple of years before that, we had our son Benji, and
congratulations.
Those are the things we do now is Benji in house. So and I'm loving it. It's great.
Sure. That's awesome. That's really cool. And we were just talking about that before you came on, that there are a few people that we can think of that got married to somebody did you meet Colleen at the radio station, or did you guys know each other prior to?
We actually met at the party for Radio X going to FM. So they had this like party, and that's where we met each other for the first time.
That's so cool.
Still might have the little ticket stub from it.
So you were there before they went FM?
We were there right when it went FM, because like the official launch party was like right at the beginning of the semester, and I think they'd flipped the switch over the summer at some point. And yeah, they were still in West Hall though when I first started. So.
Okay.
Nice.
I actually DJ'd at West Hall. So.
Really? What year was that?
It was fall of '93, and I can't remember if they switched over to the UC in the summer after that. I can't remember if I did a whole year. I might have did a whole year at West Hall, but it was pretty awesome. This is an interesting way things happen. So I was actually on the board of directors for Radio X before I was a DJ, and it was within the first couple weeks of me being at Northern. They had this position posted. I was sure I wasn't going to get on the air easily, right? I thought it was the coolest thing in the world. It's got to be really hard to become a DJ. Yeah. So, but I saw this flyer that they were looking for a board of directors member who was a student at large, and I'm like, well, I'm new. This would be cool. And so I think Mark Johnson was on the board, and I talked to him, and he was like very supportive of me. Yeah. And next thing I knew, I was on the board of directors for the station, which, you know, kind of like would approve the budgets and stuff like that.
Wow.
Which was wild. And yeah, that was my first foray into the world of Radio X. It was pretty great.
As a board member.
Yes. Yeah. So is that what you did to kind of get your foot in the door? Like, what was your reason for wanting to be part of Radio X?
Well, I love music, and I thought being a DJ would be awesome. I went to Northern for film originally, so I was like, oh, I'm going to make music videos, and I'm going to be the next Dave Kendall on MTV or something. I don't know. But and I actually met Dave Kendall because of Radio X. That was pretty cool. Anyway, wow. We were listening to the radio one night, and Kale came on, and he's like, hey guys, I'm training some new DJs, and he had them all say their name or whatever, and he said, so, you know, we're gonna let them take turns, or how it worked out. So I picked up the phone after the next song started and called, and Kale answered, and I said, hey, I'm gonna DJ at Radio X, should I come down? And he's like, yeah. I can't remember if I went down that night or if he like arranged for a time for me to come down there, but
I can just hear that big, deep Kale voice.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Over the old school phones in the dorms. Yeah. It made the phone vibrate, but yeah, that was it. I basically told him I was going to DJ, and he said, come on down. And that was it. I don't think I officially applied. I did get the little FCC license. I don't know if you guys had those when you first started there. That was pretty awesome.
Yep. I wish I kept mine, but yeah.
I had mine too, but I don't know what happened to it. I
went looking for it once when we went back up there, because they had binders with them.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Because I remember when I left Marquette and I came down to Saginaw to work at WSGW, I had mine, and it was on the wall there with all the other, and I thought I was cool because I was with all of these real on-air personalities who made, you know, real money that could actually pay for a house and stuff. And I was like, ooh, look at that. And yeah, now I have no idea where it went.
No,
I think after like the first or second year, they just pulled that, like it wasn't even a requirement anymore.
Yeah.
You had to like literally write to the FCC and get like, I don't know if there's a fee, but they like sent you an actual thing that you punched out of a piece of paper. Like
I remember that.
It was a radio level 1 op or something like that. I can't remember what the title was. It meant absolutely nothing to be a DJ. You did all you didn't need any of that to actually,
I think it was more like, oh, this is the guy that'll go to jail.
Right. Like, we need somebody to blame.
Here is your license. I mean, scapegoat card. This is what we'll need when you say one of the 7 deadly words. And by the way, Dave, if you need to flourish it up a little bit with one of the 7s, totally cool here.
For sure.
Cool.
Yeah. We found that we swear the most when we do a disclaimer about swearing. So
and yet then we don't swear at all during the episode.
Yeah,
we're like, watch out, we're going to curse a lot, and then we say nothing.
So, what was your first show? What did you have any specific format, or were you just like anything goes?
I had so many different DJ names and show names and concepts for shows, and like I never stuck with one thing over the course of any period of time. It was like each semester is almost like a new thing, but I want to say, because it was so early in the morning, I think I did like the 5 to 8 or the 4 to 7 or something like that. I can't remember what it was, and I had to walk from like all the way from Van Antwerp all the way up to West Hall at like 4 in the morning to play music to no one, basically.
This all sounds like a great idea.
Yeah. I think I was Big Steve and the Breakfast Burrito Show.
I remember hearing
remember if that might be it, because I had a fish named Little Steve that I got from Walmart, and I was Big Steve. So yeah.
Nice.
See, I only remember you as the Toaster. And I'm sure if you said some of your other radio names, I would go, oh, that was you.
I don't remember anything other than Big Steve and the Toaster. There might have been something before Big Steve, because Little Steve the fish didn't show up until sophomore year. So I don't know. But so nothing, there's no format. It was just like I was in awe of the cool music. There was a whole rack of carts with the cool songs that you're supposed to play every hour. I remember actually going into, because it was split. There was the DJ booth was on the first floor, I think, and then the production office was on the second floor of West Hall. And so they're like, it was basically in a dorm suite, like one above the other.
Yeah.
And so I remember going up to the upstairs because Kale was up there or whatever, and he's like, "Oh, I got the new 9 Inch Nails single on. I got it transferred to cart already, so we can start playing it right away." It's just like on cart. It's so crazy to think that. But we'll take the CD and put it onto a cart because that'll be easier. But.
Exactly. And then we'll put it on a reel-to-reel. So what made you come up with the name Toaster?
I didn't. So I was tired of whatever I was, Big Steve probably, and I said, I want somebody to help pick a name. And someone called up and they said, "Oh, you should be the Toaster because you're the hottest guy on the radio."
Whoa!
Of course, I'm going to pick that name, right?
Yep.
So that's what I picked. And I think a couple years later, I actually met the person who called in. I can't remember who it is now, but I remember like at some party or whatever, they're like, "Oh yeah, I was the one who called in and said."
Wow.
And
that stuck.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
Yeah, well, that was my big question, so I'm out now. Matt totally poached it from me.
Sorry. We were both wondering. I just got to it first. So we always ask fellow former DJs about the music. Like what makes you think of Radio X, and what music do you always remember when people talk about it? Or are there any songs you hear on the radio that you're like, oh, it takes you right back to that time? Are there any specific songs or artists that make you think of that?
Sure, there's tons. I mean, my last show, like my last official show at Radio X, I did a 12-hour long show.
Wow.
It was like right before I moved away from Marquette, right? Yeah. And so I went in and I did an epic show where I called it The History of Alternative Music from when I first started being a DJ or something like that. It had this really long title. And I went back because I knew where the music catalog was right when I had started, right? The CDs.
Yeah.
And so I went back to that and used that as my like from here forward, and I'll just start playing music. And I went back to the earliest CD I could remember seeing in that rack, which was the soundtrack to the movie Coneheads.
Oh yeah, that has a good REM song on it.
Yeah, it does. It had that, and of course the big one was the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Was it Soul to Squeeze? I think.
Soul to Squeeze.
Soul to Squeeze.
But that was like it was a sound, one of those things where the soundtrack was better than the movie.
Definitely.
You know, like Judgment Night is another one. But
oh yeah,
yeah.
Wow. So that's a lot of. I'm just trying to think of roughly how many songs that is. 12 hours.
Oh, it was
per song.
And the crazy thing is, once upon a time, I don't even know where if it is still around or got thrown out, but I recorded the entire thing. So I had like a bunch of 90-minute tapes that I just kept flipping and inserting new ones for the entire 12 hours. I had it all written down, like the entire playlist. It was really awesome. The only thing that was not awesome about that show was about, I don't know, within the last hour or two of my broadcast, you had to go check for the weather, and usually grab some news to give a news update or whatever. And with the news that night that Chris Farley had died, came across like right at the end of that show, and it totally took the wind out of the sails. Right. I'm just like, all right, here's another song. Like, sorry, I had to be the one to tell you this during my final show.
Exactly.
Which was weird because then we moved to Madison, and the funeral was there. Like,
that is weird.
Like 2 weeks later when we moved down there, and it was on the news and stuff because he was from that
really
area.
Weird.
Yeah, so I don't know. It was wild, but
so that's one of those things you can always remember, like where you were. Like my kind of story like that when it comes to Radio X, I was sitting in the booth with might have been you, Matt, but I definitely remember Bridget being there when oh shoot, now his name escapes me. The lead singer from NXS died.
Michael Hutchins.
Yeah, I remember I was sitting in the booth when that happened. And Bridget came in and she's like, "Hey," he died. And then of course everybody found out how he died, and then, all that ensued. But it's funny that you can place those things like you were sitting there when it happened.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I can do the same thing with like Kurt Cobain. I can drive to the exact place and pick up I don't think the payphone's there anymore. I think drug dealers did away with that one. But where I called my buddy and said, "Hey, did you hear the news? Kurt Cobain died."
Oh yeah, I was let's see, I was driving home, I think, from Pittsburgh with my friend Ben and my sister when that was on the radio. I think.
Oh wow.
I think Kurt Loder was actually on the radio.
Yeah, I think they just would break. They took that was the big news break. Like that's what they still show to this day. And we were watching whatever was on that night, and I remember just like everybody just was like, "Okay, this sucks."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So back to the tapes, like that's something that I've probably, it drives me crazy because I don't have anything. I used to have a bunch of tapes of shows that I did, and then they just kind of disappeared because they're cassettes and that's what they do. There's only a few people I know who have started to either record into digital or at least still have. I know Empire is one who has, he's been digitizing some of his shows, and I think he's hopefully, fingers crossed, going to send us some like liners from Radio X that we can use. Yeah, that would be great.
We really, really, really want to get Darth Vader telling us about trees.
Yes, exactly. If that's on one of those, that's going to be fantastic. But that's something that like you don't think of at the time when you are a kid or a recently created grown up, that these things I should hang on to forever, because even though they're not going to have any actual value, there will be a point where you'll be like, I really wish I had this stuff, you know?
Yeah. I don't care about the tapes themselves anymore. I wish I would have done something with them at a point, because I know I had a computer when I still had those tapes and a tape player, but now it's probably all gone. I don't have much of a hope of finding it. I don't think it's in that box full of stuff downstairs. Might be. No. I might have kept some of it. I can't remember though.
But again, like there's no reason. Like it would be weirder for people to keep them, and yet in situations like this, it's like, man, why didn't I keep them? Yeah. You know, most of the time people would say, "Why are you holding on to those cassette tapes?" And you'd be like, you're right.
Right.
But right now, it would be so cool.
See, I found a bunch of cassette tapes, but none of them are labeled. I also found a bunch of DAT tapes that had stuff on them, but I have no DAT player. I haven't even seen one in probably 10 years.
Right. Yeah. You're never going to find a way to listen to the DAT. Well, wait a minute. You work in digital recording.
I work in a studio, but yeah, all of those things are long gone, dude.
No. I remember when I had a Rolling Stone subscription, they included a DAT of... No, it was a mini disc. When mini disc first came out, they had a mini disc of like a list of songs. And I was like, well, this is cool. Now I've got to find a fucking mini disc player. And I think I found one like in a store. I listened to it because that was the only place that I could find a mini disc player.
And that quality was amazing, I bet, right?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
But that's
I can see this. You standing in like a Best Buy. They just released mini disc players. And here's this weirdo standing there like, oh, no, hold on. I promise I'm going to buy this. Let me listen to it. I want to make sure the quality is good. And you're just going through the Rolling Stones playlist.
It's exactly what happened. 100%. It
was probably Circuit City, you know?
Yeah, I was going to say that seems more likely.
I think it was like the mall. I think it was like one of the little, I don't remember, but
the Radio Shack.
No, and I don't have any of those things.
Malls were places that had a lot of stores inside of them at one point in time. Now they're just empty buildings for you to go explore.
Don't get you started. So, one of the things that Jace and I both noticed about your Twitter is that you have a variety of interesting musical selections that pop up from time to time. How does that happen? Like, is this something you seek out or is it just random?
Yeah, I was cruising through your Twitter earlier today. I was like, wow, I've got a lot of stuff that I need to listen to.
Well, mostly what that is, I have an app set up that when I scan a song, it's not Shazam, it's another one, SoundHound, which I think it works great.
Yeah.
But whenever I use it, I have it set up. I set it up when I first started using it. Anytime I scan a song, it will tweet about it. And I don't know if I did it through like the app or if I did it through like a third party thing or whatever, but I set it up. And that's why if you see something from me on Twitter, this is a little peek behind the curtain. If you see something from me on Twitter that says apparently and then something else, that means I didn't actually write that. That was a robot that did it, right?
Wow.
That explains some of these tweets then.
It does.
Because there was one that this is the one that caught my eye for whatever reason. I think it's because of the name. It says, I was apparently curious about this song, Renegade, featuring Taylor Swift.
Yeah, well, I'd heard it because I'd been listening. I'm like, what is this song? I heard it recently, and it was because it was the guy, he's one of the guys that helps write the music in The National. He has his own band called Big Red Machine, and he does it with the guy from Bon Iver, which I don't listen to Bon Iver, so
Is that how you say that, Bon Iver?
That's how I've heard it. Yeah.
Okay, because I always say Bon Iver, and I know I'm like
that's what I originally until I heard enough people.
Stupid Midwestern guy, but I was like, I'm sure there's a better way to say this.
He's from Eau Claire, Wisconsin, or lives there or something. But yeah, so that's where that Taylor Swift song came up on my Twitter feed. Yeah,
man,
it's kind of cool though, because I did that with a Jurassic 5 song when I was in a restaurant once. I heard this Jurassic 5 song come on the radio, and I hit it, and Jurassic 5 retweeted me. I was like, yeah, that's awesome. I didn't even know they were around anymore, let alone have an active social media presence. But that was kind of cool.
That's all they have now is an active social media presence.
Or it's like me, a robot did it.
Right, exactly. It's programmed to respond to any mention of their name.
Guys, we got to do this every time someone mentions us. Just get it out there.
Just retweet.
That's funny. I'm glad I don't have that set up in my SoundHound because I ask it some weird questions.
That's what's kind of fun about it though, right? Because now Jace is like, what the heck is this guy listening to Taylor Swift for? I'm like, no, it's the cool Taylor Swift music that's not her songs. It's her singing on other people's.
Yeah. I will freely admit that I have a young daughter and I've listened to plenty of Taylor Swift in my life. And although not always my cup of tea, she is very talented.
Yeah.
I don't disagree there at all. That song is actually pretty good though, because I'd heard it and I remember thinking, oh, this is good. When I heard it again, I'm like, I got to hit this on SoundHound. So
she's no Olivia Rodrigo.
Stop it.
Get that straight.
That's that's Olivia? A true statement. But I don't know which way you're going with it.
Olivia Rodrigo besides her. I'm telling you, she's good, Matt. She's good.
Just be a fan. It's okay. Just be a fan.
I'm a fan. I'm not upset about it. Maybe a little, but not totally upset about it.
But are you a fan of her or are you a fan of Elvis Costello and Paramore and Taylor Swift? That's the question.
I think I'm missing something here.
Well, those are all the people that she apparently copied her songs from.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, at this point, when you're writing pop songs, it's
Elvis
probably
Costello.
hard not to copy somebody.
She's got this song. I don't know what it's called. Rude.
Veronica? No.
Yeah, she's got this song. It's called "The Other Side of Summer," and it sounds exactly like Elvis Costello. No, it's this song that has it's got the same guitar riff from, I think, Radio.
Okay.
And no, from Pump It Up. It's the exact same. Like if you heard it, you'd be like, oh yeah, this is almost a sample, but it's not a sample.
Gotcha.
Yeah. You'll have to check that out. I don't know what it's called.
I was listening to the new Strokes album the other day because enough people had finally said it was good and I should listen to it. So I did. And there's like, I think 2 or 3 songs on there that are just straight up other songs.
Really?
And it's not bad, right? Like it's literally good. But like there was one I started singing the lyrics to the song it reminded me of, and it exactly fit in there. It was like, this isn't okay.
That's fantastic.
So it's not them rehashing their own songs; they're doing somebody else's, and
right, without
inadvertently doing somebody else's.
Maybe, or like, hey guys, let's play this today, and it was very similar to like what I wish I was a little more prepared. But
well, I was thinking about this though, like Olivia Rodrigo, and I don't mean to
welcome
pound
to
on her
Taylor
because
Swift
I know you're a fan.
Olivia Rodrigo show.
But listen. I know you're a fan.
We're 3 grown men talking about teenage girl singers. Enjoy.
Well into our 40s.
Here's 30 to 45 minutes about Olivia Rodrigo that I just have to get out. She's written a string of hits, and good for her. That's great. And several of them she has had to then give these other artists a portion of the royalties or a writing credit, which I guess leads to a portion of the royalties because the songs are either blatantly the same or they're very, very influenced by. But in my opinion, like, she's still going to make millions and millions and millions of dollars off of these songs. So who cares? Like, I would give a writing credit to anybody just to make it go away. You know what I mean? Like, if someone says, hey, that sounds like Elvis Costello, I'd be cool. I'll give him 1% of my profits. Let's move on. And then Elvis Costello's like, yeah, whatever. And then she's still making millions. And then everyone can move on and worry about something else, like Kanye West.
I don't understand how these things happen too, where like way later someone sues them. Like, you know, like with that, or like a movie comes out and someone's like, well, actually, I wrote a book that's very similar to that movie, but it's like 6 months later. It's like, oh, you waited to see if it did well first.
Exactly. Yeah. Am I going to get anything out of this? Then yes. Yeah. That's true. I think Elvis Costello said, I don't care. I stole from people when I was coming up. That's what we all do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's only so many ways you can put guitar chords in a pattern, and it's going to sound like somebody at some point.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you go into art of any sort and go back far enough, you see like all these different artists who were essentially copying each other or learning from each other or whatever. And that's a whole part of it. I mean, you know,
it's putting your twist on it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, very true. So speaking of artists, you, at least when in college you were a musician, do you still play at all, or do you make music at all anymore?
No. So probably like within the first year or so of coming out to Boston, when Jen Wilkie was out here, Kent was out here, right? So they're always making music. They're always in bands and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Jen was looking to start a band, and she had actually placed an ad in I can't even remember what the newspaper is out here, but they for a drummer, or found a drummer looking for a band or something like that. And so she's like, yeah, I'm going to go play with this guy, and asked if, you know, I wanted to go too. I said, yeah, I'll play bass in your band, but I wanted to play it on the keyboard, because I knew I wasn't a very good like actual electric bass player, but I could figure out a bass pattern on a keyboard pretty well. So let's do it. So we actually started a band, and we didn't play any shows, but we did play like parties for friends and stuff like that once or twice, and recorded an EP with Jen. It was her songs that she had already recorded, but we like redid like our redone versions of them, and I think there might have been a cover on there, but it was pretty cool. It was a lot of fun.
Is it out there anywhere? That's the big question.
It's in my basement. I think that I had.
Well, that's somewhere.
I think I had the box sent to me from the music printing company or whatever. But yeah, I don't know if I have it anywhere on, online on a SoundCloud or anything like that. I should see if Jen does. But yeah, it was pretty cool. It was a fun experiment because we recorded it, all together, and then she kind of took the parts we recorded, like it was literally like as she was moving out of the area. So
wow.
she took the tapes with her essentially, and then at some point sent me something and said, "Hey, I was going to sing lead vocals on this, but I want you to instead." So she had me sing lead on a song that she normally would sing.
Nice.
And I recorded that in our apartment with a mic that I stole from somebody, like that kind of thing. So it was pretty awesome. It was a fun experience. And then the drummer that she and I played with, he and I continued playing for several years after that, and had a guitarist join us at one point and stuff like that. And we actually even I made a short film with some friends, actually with Jay Markstrom. He came out to visit, and we made a short film together with Rich Trice and my friend and I that I had the band with. We recorded the soundtrack to it too. And then,
wow.
Yeah. It was
Is
a lot of
that
fun.
Available anywhere?
It is. It's out there. It's on my. I think it might be hidden on my YouTube page, but I can set you up with the link. It's like an 8-minute long short film, which, by the way, won second place in an international film festival. Just gonna throw that out there. So.
Really?
Yeah.
What was it called?
The movie? It was called Words of Action, and it was. Well, I don't want to give too much away because it's kind of like a joke, but.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'll send you guys the link. You can take a look at it. And but yeah, I made that with Jay Markstrom. He came out here for like a vacation. It was a couple of years after I'd moved to Boston, and he and Rich went on like a little road trip, and they went to some concerts. I think they followed like Elbow around for a little bit or something like that, and then they came out here, and we made a movie in 24 hours before they started having all these like 24-hour movie making contests.
Yeah, that's like a big thing for like movie
Yeah.
For film festivals like I think there's one around here out of Detroit called the 24-hour film festival.
Yeah, I think Rich and Jay had done a few of those before, or after, or something like that. But yeah, so that was a fun little project that we did too. So.
So one of the songs that you had when we were all in school was, of course, Robot Party.
Yes.
According to your SoundCloud, it was the #1 most requested song of the summer of 1996.
It was. We actually beat Kent and Jen's Leslie Can't Love Lawn Party Murder was the #2. It was tied though. Like it was probably like one vote difference. But my I remember that summer my brother and sister came to visit, and they're like, someone fell asleep and left the radio on, and I think my sister's like, yeah, I turned down I went to turn off the radio at 3 a.m. and the Lawn Party Murder and Robot Party were played like back to back at 3 a.m. because people just always threw them on. I don't know why.
Yeah, but it was a great song. It was fun.
It was
silly. Fun. It was silly, but it was a fun song.
Yeah, I mean, Rick Myers and I, we really wanted to be like Beck combined with other bands that we loved, right? So
yeah,
it was essentially like our version of that. But
so that's who the other person is. It's Rick Meyer.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. He was the one playing the sweet trumpet solo on Robot Party. Every song had different instrumentation. It was like I think we may have played 5 shows in the existence of the band, but they were always like their own thing. Like we always had a bunch of stuff we brought on stage with us and made use of all of it. So it was kind of cool.
And what instruments do you know how to play? Like you would say you can fumble your way at least through.
The first thing I learned was piano, but that was like self-taught and barely knew how to do stuff with just one hand. Then I learned trombone, and I was actually quite good at trombone in high school, and like did well in like local contests and stuff like that for the high school bands.
Were you like first chair trombone?
I never was, but I did really well at playing it. So what I ended up doing was the band director was like, I have something for you. And he pulls out this beautiful horn, this golden thing that had all these extra, it was a trombone, but had all these extra valves and triggers and stuff. Oh. And he's like, this is a bass trombone. I think we need you on this to help round out the sound of the band. And it was awesome. I loved it. I loved that horn. And at the end of high school, when I went to return it to the band closet and say like, "Hey, I'm bringing back this trombone you let me borrow," he's like, "Oh, that wasn't yours?" And I was like, "Oh man,
I could have walked with it."
Yep.
No.
So, yeah. What else?
You look down and you're like, "Oh wait, no, this is mine." Yeah, I'm sorry. I was thinking of a different one.
So, as a trombone player, I have to ask: did you ever play in a ska band?
Yeah, absolutely. Up in Marquette, I was in. Oh my gosh, what were they called now? Totally just blanked on the name. It was a guy who had a pretty regular reggae band presence in the area, and so
Crying Q?
No, it wasn't Crying Q. I didn't play with those guys, but I have a fun story about them for after the break. But I'll just tease that. But I cannot remember the name of the band. Anyway, this one guy in the Marquette area always had these reggae bands, and I think they usually had different names and stuff. And we went and played out at Marquette Mountain because they would have shows out there once in a while, once in a very blue moon. Duncan played there for a Christmas show once too. But so I was in this like in this ska / reggae band, and I played trombone. I think there was a guy that stood next to me and played sax, and we did this really sweet like rock steady version of My Girl, which was like that was my favorite song to play with those guys. He also had this song called Face Me Toward the Sun, and I didn't really pay attention to it while we were practicing and rehearsing and stuff, but then when he introduced it, he said he hopes that someday if he's ever like wheelchair bound that he would have someone in his life to face him toward the sun.
Wow.
It was the greatest little introduction to a story or to a song, and I was just like totally thrown.
Damn.
Yeah, we used to play in was it McDonald's Music that was on 3rd Street, the guitar shop. That was our practice space there. Yeah, bringing back all kinds of memories, guys.
That's what we do. Someone's going to remember the name of the band because we do have quite a few Radio X listeners. Someone is going to remember and they'll let us know. So go to either on the Facebook page or on Twitter. If you're on Twitter, let us know so we can bring back more memories.
But real quick, running through instruments, I bought an electric guitar from a priest. That was pretty fun. I bought an Appalachian dulcimer because it looked cool and I'd never seen one before, and that was kind of fun. I still have that thing kicking around here somewhere. I have an acoustic guitar, a keyboard. The other song that Matt, you and I were talking before the show about, I was playing that on a keyboard. That was the one I used with Jen's band. Mm-hmm. Pretty much anything I can pick up and play a little tune usually, even if I'd never played that instrument before. So
I've never played a dulcimer, but I have seen a lot of them because I sold elephant ears at a dulcimer festival.
Well, there you go. So that's awesome. That's really cool.
And one year
Wait
it was
a minute,
so
was that
cold
the Dulcimer Festival?
It's the Dulcimer Festival.
I was
There's
there.
not many. It's just that one.
I bought an elephant ear from you, man.
Is that how you guys met?
That's how we met.
That's how we met. Let's just
That's
have
your meet
everybody
cute.
think that's how we met because it's.
I was like, hey, can you hold my dulcimer? I have to get this elephant ear. And he was like, well, here's an elephant ear. And then our eyes met. There was a spotlight. The rest is history.
I just fell in love with your dulcimer version of Crocodile Rock. So.
That would be really hard to play on a dulcimer.
Yeah, it would.
Knowing how the thing works. Yeah.
Okay, so we do have, I think, a couple songs that we want to play.
Mm-hmm.
Jace, should we do Robot Party first?
Oh, yeah. Robot Party was the one. When Matt and I started this, we started talking about Radio X related things. And I was like, do you got any tapes with Robot Party on it? He's like, no, neither do I. Do we know anybody who has Robot Party? Because that's the one song that always sticks on my, and there were plenty of bands that came through Radio X, local folks in Marquette, but this, I don't know why. And I think it's just because it's funny and it's catchy.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, we looked. And then I look on your SoundCloud and I was like, oh, this was put up like almost 10 years ago. And I never found it.
Yep.
I'm really good at internet searches, apparently.
Well, but what's really funny is I actually put that up on SoundCloud for a reason. I was working at a job and I told these guys that I worked with, I said, hey, if we get this thing done at work, I'll let you, I'll point you to my music that I recorded in college. And then they're like searching for it. And I think they killed like half a day of productivity trying to find it without actually doing the work that we were going to do. But yeah.
So almost everybody, I think, not every single person, but almost everyone who we've interviewed has mentioned Robot Party when we say, what songs do you think of when you think of Radio X? Almost everyone has at least brought that up for a second. So it's definitely had an impact on us, the people that we have talked to. And so it's super cool that we get to play it, and because we don't get to normally play music. So this is an extra fun for us.
So here you are, folks. It's Robot Party, Duncan, here on XRadioX.
This is a song called Robot Party. It's a new one. We're going to the robot party. We're going to have a blast. We're picking up a case of oil. We're picking up a gallon of gas. R63 is a buddy of mine. He's a buddy of his too. R63 is throwing the party. His wife X5 is too. Yeah, we're at the robot party. We're drinking all our gas. 'Cause at the robot party, no kicking robot ass. We're going to the robot party. We're going to have a blast. We're picking up a case of oil. We're getting a gallon of gas. T33 is drinking oil, he's in the Quaker state. BZ2 is on Slick 50 cause he don't have a date. Q3P is high on glass, D8's talking him down. K16's drinking Tropotic, and N53's nowhere to be found. Go! Thank you.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So much fun.
So obviously it was recorded live at probably in the Great Lakes room at one of the Radio X things. I think that was probably one of our, well, I don't know if it was our first shows, but that was definitely, this is a new one. Yeah, it was like our only show. So, but so really interesting tidbit about that song. That is not the original recording of that song that was played on Radio X. In fact, Kent went into the editing room and he added like those little bits of echo you hear at the end of certain phrases.
Really?
And he did it just to see if I would notice, I think. And I didn't care, but it's I don't know where the actual original copy of that is, but yeah. Wow. There was a whole show that was recorded, a bunch of other songs. We had a multi-track recorder that I think we borrowed Ryan Knippel's multi-track 4-track, and we actually he produced an entire album for us. No idea where that is. No clue. Yeah.
It's a bummer.
Dorm rock, baby. That's awesome.
So now we're exposing a whole new group of fans to Duncan. So you'll probably have to, get the band back together.
Yeah, I really need to track Rick Myers down. I think he does have a copy of a lot of that stuff. And there were some pretty good songs. We had a lot of fun because what we did, we actually wrote the titles first. And
really?
Yeah. So
it was like a challenge kind of.
Oh, almost, yeah. There was a class. It was like an art history class or something, and Rick and I sat next to each other and just did not pay attention. And so we wrote down all these song titles, and every single one of them had, except for Robot Party, had a few words and then in parentheses more words. Like the best of the song titles always do. And so we wrote like a whole page of these, and then we actually went through and recorded all like 20 songs or something like that, and that tape is lost to the to the world. I don't know, man.
Damn it.
The only title I can remember was Monkey Monkey Monk (parentheses Dog Dog 2). It was actually quite catchy, but
oh man. So I was just thinking about this. The idea of like what we did as basically children and what we do now, like,
or as you called it earlier, newly formed adults.
What things, and this is kind of a deep one, so I apologize, philosophically, what things about you, and Jace, I want to hear your answer too. What things about you are the same as when you were in college, and what things about you are crazy different? Like, what do you look back and say, oh yeah, that's totally me? And what things do you look back and say, I can't believe that's me? Can you think of anything like off the top of your head that's just so diverse from your normal?
Well, I mean, other than being, ageless, as Jason pointed out earlier. No, mentally, yes, I do think I'm still 26 years old.
Yeah,
or 23 or whatever it is when you get out of college. But I guess that I think the thing that I took with me that I had, I guess before I even went to school though, was my love of finding new music and not just listening to the same stuff over and over again. I liked I like when people suggest stuff to me and know my tastes. Like the one guy, and I think he's been brought up many times on this podcast, was JB. He always knew what songs to feed to people that they would be turned on by. Like he was the one who was like, hey, check this out. And it was James Kachelka Superstar's album.
Oh.
Or, hey, you should, I think you should listen to this. You would probably do a good job reviewing it. And it was Cake's first album.
Nice.
And, like just that kind of thing. And he just always knew the right thing to feed to people. And I love that. And I like doing that for others too. When I hear something and it makes me think of a person, I'll just flip it over to them and say, hey, check this out.
So how do you find new music now though? Like because obviously it's not radio.
No. So I mean, the algorithms do a good job, then they don't do a good job, and then they come back and do a good job. So I think I've had pretty good luck with Spotify for probably 10 years now. There was an awesome platform that was around before them called Rdio, RDIO.
Mm-hmm.
Love that. I talk about it still to this day. It was a subscription service, but then you could also then buy the album, like the MP3 copy of the album.
Oh, okay.
So that was kind of fun. And so I would with that one, it was a really well done service where you could go down the list of the new releases for that week and just put them each in a tab of your browser. And I would just listen through all these albums each week when something new came out.
Oh, that's cool.
And that was how I used to kind of just keep on top of things. And now, I mean, Pandora first and now Spotify and others, they get pretty good at pointing you in the right direction. I think almost to the point where they even take into account sonic qualities of music versus just the sheer content of it.
I agree.
There was one week I had a playlist and I'm like, wow, this is all really well spaced stereo, cool effects coming from different angles and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, that sounds about right. So.
I found out because I made in Amazon Music, I made a RadioX playlist, and and I've been adding to it and cultivating it for months and months. And it was all the songs that I could remember that we used to play or that other people used to play that I really got a kick out of. And it was basically like I was trying to recreate that moment of time where a lot of music was really new and interesting and different and sometimes weird. So I had that existed. And then I started late to Spotify, just pretty much after we started this podcast. And I started to build a RadioX playlist on Spotify, and it's scary what they recommend.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
I mean, it's scary. Like they're in my brain scary.
Yeah. Some deep cuts always, you would not expect. And
it's not even songs that sound necessarily the same, but it's like, well, this is from that era that you might be into slightly different music. And they've nailed specific tracks that I'm like, how did you know that we used to play that? It wasn't a hit. It wasn't popular anywhere else. And Spotify is like, oh yeah, I'm in your brain. It's scary.
Yeah, Spotify is pretty good. I put in a couple songs. I was listening to a bunch of it would have been probably early 2000s, late 90s punk, pop punk type stuff. Mm-hmm. And it was literally like turning on Punk Mondays as the playlists would start coming through. I was like, wow, how do they know this? Yeah. I thought there were more bands than just these ones, but I guess these were it.
What about you, Jace? Is there something about you that is the same and something about you that's completely different?
It's very similar to what Dave said. In my head, I'm still 24 to you know 26 years old, however old I was when I graduated. In my head, radio is still an important thing. It's really not, but but in my head it is, and I still talk about it and listen to it and I still wear Danzig shirts. I don't know.
Nice. It's good.
I don't know if I should be proud of that or not anymore, but that's
ladies, it's sleeveless.
Oh, it is. I prefer my shirts sleeveless. Unless I'm at work, then I put sleeves on. But otherwise at home, gotta break the guns out.
I don't remember people I feel the same way, and I don't want this to be all about people getting old, but
But here I am.
But
isn't that the point of this show?
Yeah, it totally is.
The whole point of this show is remember how it used to be awesome, guys?
Yeah. Well, this isn't radio related. I wonder sometimes if people who were our age back when we were kids felt the same way, because it doesn't seem like it. Like when someone was in their, 40s or whatever, they seemed more adult than we do now. Don't you think?
I think they just hit it really well.
They seemed like they wore, button-down shirts, and they weren't wearing shorts anymore. They were wearing slacks. And I was in the store today with my 4-year-old, and he wanted to throw. We found this football that whistled when you throw it, and he wanted to throw it in the aisle. And I was like, "Yeah, let's do this." And so we were throwing this football, and he's not very great at throwing, and one went wild, and I went chasing after it and kind of almost slid to catch it. And I thought, what the hell am I doing? I'm 44. It felt like I should just be saying, now you be careful, son, instead of just
Lord,
goofing
no,
around.
Don't be that guy.
But it's just, I don't want to be that guy, but it just feels like this might be a generational thing that now when we no longer have to act like adults. I think that our parents might feel like they had to.
All right, here I'm going to fly in and ruin this for you, Matt. I was in the store yesterday, actually, because both of my sons run cross country, and my one son was complaining of shin splints. Yeah. So we went in to get him some of those shin compression things that runners wear. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you guys are familiar with those. I've just kind of learned about them myself. Anyways, so we're walking through the store, and these kids go riding by on bikes.
Yeah.
In the store. Punks. And I looked at my girlfriend, and I says, I fucking hate this store. So there you go. You guys are cool. I'm the angry old man yelling at people to get off his lawn and stop riding bikes in the store, and you're being unsafe. So there you go. At least one of us is getting old in this group.
Yeah, but you still said, I hate this fucking store in a sleeveless Danzig shirt. So I feel like that's
tracks. Yeah.
Yeah, it's still an improvement.
Now I feel bad for getting mad at that kid riding a bike in a store, but I was...
He definitely.
I think I was taking off. Oh, yeah. No, I was mad about it. I was like, "What? So I'm trying to buy this thing, and you're going to run me over with a bike?"
When you were, here's a question: when you were that kid's age, would you have done something that ostentatious in a store? I would have. I'm sure I would have, but some of the stuff we got up to at Econo Foods was.
I think it would have been a 50-50 shot. It would have been. In my head, I would have been like, "Will my parents catch me?" If I thought there was a chance, I would have been like, nope.
No.
If you were with your buddies, though, and they all kind of,
my buddies, yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, we would have been like, hey, bikes, let's see how well this bike rides. And then we would have got yelled at by the store people. Yeah, so that tracks. At that age, I probably would have. And they were young. They were 8, 9.
Oh, well, what the hell? They don't even know anything.
I know.
They know. Come on, man. They know more than I've forgotten.
I suppose.
Oh, yeah. They have these little computers attached to the end of their hands all the time.
Dear God. So what other music reminds you of Radio X, Dave? Anything else that sticks out that makes you think of?
I think of songs I played a lot because there were certain points where I just did a lot of shows, right? And I would try to I would stay around sometimes during the breaks and just do a ton of shows over the Christmas break or something. And then there was one summer where there weren't a lot of people around for some reason, and it was probably one of the most fun summers I've ever had. But the problem was the station. If someone didn't go in and start the station up in the morning, then no one would go in and do a show that day.
Right.
So I made it
to turn on the transmitter.
Right. So I made it and go to the public safety and get the key. So I made it my mission to go and turn the station on every morning and do a show. So I think I went in every day, Monday to Friday, from 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. or something like that.
Oh, that's awesome.
And would go in every day and do a show and then go to work. The reason I did it at 6 to 8 because I had to go to work. And so I was washing cars at the Ford dealership. So I would get up, ride my bike down the hill or whatever, and do a show for 2 hours and then go out to the Ford dealership and wash cars. But I remember in that time period, every morning I had a certain group of songs I would tend to play that summer. And I know there was definitely some Rancid that I played quite a bit that summer. And then Garbage had just come out with I'm Only Happy When It Rains.
Okay.
And part of the deal with washing cars is that if it was raining, I didn't have to go to work. So I would always play that song as kind of like a hoping to not have to go to work that day.
Like a rain
of course,
dance.
Yeah, exactly. But I would not get paid. So I don't know why I was trying to make that happen. But yeah, so those things pop in my head. But I just think of all the other stuff we charted and got popular and got excited about and got the bands to come to town and all that sort of stuff. And really I liked playing stuff from the area that was good, like the bands of our friends and things like that. But then also I remember recording the open mic stuff and playing songs that people played at open mics.
Oh, yeah.
And just that kind of stuff was cool too. And then, the whole music scene up in Houghton at MTU was so good compared to the Marquette music scene at the time. Yeah. And they had Crying Q and all those other bands and stuff, and they put out compilations of artists from the area. That was just so amazing. So
it was cool when Crying Q played at Radio X. Were you guys there for that?
I was
working.
Awesome. That was cool.
I was the guy who mic'd it. The engineer that was supposed to do that and had all the stuff didn't show up. And the band was there, and they're all there, and they're waiting, and we had half an hour to do something.
And there was a lot of them. There was it was 6 or 7 people in the band, right?
Oh, it was 12. It was crazy, yeah.
It was
so I'm I don't know what to do. So I hurried. The only thing I had was a really long mic cable and one microphone. And I was like, well, let's make this happen. And for some reason, I don't know why, I know a lot of stuff. I know a little bit about a lot of stuff. Mm-hmm. And so I knew that way back in the day when they would record the Popeye cartoons and stuff like that, they would record it in a way where they used one microphone or some of those old radio shows, and they would space themselves out appropriately. Mm-hmm. So the louder musicians were further away and the singers were right up close and stuff. So I was oh, let's see what makes sense. And I got it all set up and I had it all set and one microphone was there and the singers would lean in to sing to it or whatever. And it came out so good. I really wish I had a recording of that. And Bernie Larson, who's a music producer guy up there and recorded all this stuff, he was hey, that was fun. It's cool, that was really great. And they had that one guy who would he kind of rapped on the songs. Yep. And he would lean in and rap on it. It just came out so fun. And I just remember that just being such a good time. And he asked me, he's so why is your DJ name the Toaster? Yeah. And I said, oh, and I explained the story. And he said, oh, because my job in the reggae band is the Toaster. That's a title of the guy that does what I do in the band.
Really?
I was oh, that's cool. I didn't know that. So the
Toaster is the MC of the band?
Yeah, basically. Yeah. And that's why I think that's why that band, that ska band, the Toasters, was named that partially. But yeah.
See, in my head, in my old early 20s Radio X head, I thought that's how you got your name.
I
was he saw that and thought it was cool, and that's how.
No, I think it was before that I got into ska, maybe too. Yeah, but yeah, that was fun. That was kind of crazy. And then just putting on those shows and stuff when we would promote those those different RadioX, concerts and stuff. That was so much fun. It was
Yeah.
a lot of work, but it was always awesome.
And you were on the E staff, weren't you, for a while? Or no?
I don't know if I ever officially was. I know that I was like promotions director or something like that, or events.
He was the board. He was on the board of directors. Come on now.
He's not going to
slum it with the E staff.
Do you want to know what's really funny about being on the board of directors? I don't remember when I was no longer on the board of directors. I think I honestly just forgot to go to the meetings at that point and just didn't go anymore. That's who I was in 1993.
Well, you were working at the station. Why do you need to go to the board of directors?
I got mission accomplished, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So there are some stories from back when we worked at RadioX.
I think most of the antics that I got into were off air for the most part.
That's smart.
I think. So some of the stuff we did, not nothing illegal, but just like
your college radio career will last a lot longer if your antics stay off air.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's the thing. Like I could have fun, but I also knew like, okay, if you're in this booth, you can't. I mean, the one thing I would do on a fairly regular basis, and someone would call up and tell me not to do it from like, I don't know, Steve Curley or somebody would call me up and tell me not to do it, was I would sing backup vocals on a song once in a while. I'd put my mic way down in the mix, and then I would sing like harmony with somebody in a song. But it was cool because then you awesome. Realize someone was listening to you. But
even getting scolded, somebody was listening. Still
That's fantastic.
Wasn't Steve Kirtley the one who did the? Do you guys remember when they re-released that, or not re-released? They released that Beatles song, "Fly Like a Bird," or whatever.
Oh yeah.
And
Free as a Bird.
Yeah. Free as a Bird. Wasn't he the one that did that? We had that liner cut of it, and they were playing Free as a Bird, and he's like, "This song sucks. This is terrible." Do you guys remember that? See, those are the liners I want to get my hands on.
Yeah. I hope that we get some so we can start playing them interspersed throughout the podcast, because that would be like, it would make people think that they were having some sort of trip. To just be listening to us, and then all of a sudden you hear like
200 watts of power.
Or Vlad say something like,
right.
It would just be really cool to have just people spliced in for nostalgia.
What was your favorite liner? Like if you had to pick one.
Drain the lake, find the gun.
Oh, that was
one of my
fun.
favorites.
What was that, Matt?
Wasn't that special or
Kent,
anything? Yeah. But I always liked Kent's "Drain the lake, find the gun." I don't know why. It just always made me laugh.
Oh, that was a good one. I forgot about that one.
No.
I would have to say there's two of them for me. Yeah. And the one is, and I believe Matt and I recorded both of them with you, Matt. The first one was when we did This Is Radio X, but we recorded it backwards and then played it forwards. And it was creepy.
So long.
Yeah, It took us forever.
It took so long to phonetically say everything backwards, and
so
then
it would come out
around.
Right on the other side.
That's
fun, amazing.
Yeah.
And then the other one was when we did. I don't remember the name of the group, but we did that. It was essentially a promo or not a PSA, but it was a promo for the group that did Magic the Gathering and all of the different.
Oh yes, yeah.
And
that was, yeah.
I don't think I was in that.
The Dead Alewives did that, yeah.
No. That was the song Dungeons and Dragons, but we did one. There was a group, an actual student group, kind of like Radio X was.
Oh, yeah. Right.
But they were always in the offices kind of behind where the studio was. Mm-hmm. I like how I'm pointing behind me,
back
like
there,
they're in my bathroom.
By your fireplace.
There.
Yeah, down the hall. Yeah. They had the windows. We didn't. Yeah.
But they did all like the Dungeons and Dragons stuff. They did like the Magic the Gathering cards, games, and all of that. And we kind of did.
Called again?
I don't remember, but I wish I could remember. And
was it the Society for Creative Anachronism? That's a real thing. I don't know if that's what they were called, but
no, I don't think that's what they were called.
They were called like, oh shoot, someone else is going to tell us.
No, that's more like LARPing, I think.
Kick ourselves.
Yeah, but the one of the things that I found really funny about that is I think Jeff has it on the cassette because we found it. We're like, hey, that was the one. Anyways, when we went up there to do our reunion show where we ushered in the pandemic, as I like to say, we were leaving to go get something to eat before our show, and there was not that exact group, but that type of people, that group of people sitting and playing Magic the Gathering
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Like in the vestibule as we're leaving the university center, and I was like, wow, they even set this up for our reunion show. Thanks, guys. You really went all out.
They really went for the nostalgia for sure. Yeah, that was fun.
Those are probably my two favorites.
What about you, Dave? Did you have a favorite?
The one that comes to mind, just because I don't know why, but I still love it to this day. More giving than a six-uddered cow.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I think that they made like a whole bunch of them, like these really short ones, in like a marathon session, because we got the instant replays, right? So we needed all this new content.
Yeah,
and I think we just cranked a ton of these things, but
to fill all the buttons.
I mean, you could only use the shotgun blast and the baby crying so many times before.
That's right.
It was like, stop playing those in succession.
Quack, quack, quack. I think that fell right in there.
I could probably find that shotgun sound effect. We could at least have that.
Oh, I know I have a CD with those exact same sound effects on it.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, yeah. If you ever worked at a studio that had like a subscription to Killer Tracks or something like that. Oh, yeah. They're all there. It's like sound effects 101. They're all terrible. They're all cheesy, and they're everywhere if you listen.
But we wouldn't have to pay any royalties. See, that's the thing. We wouldn't have to have a license because we could just say that we fired a shotgun in our studio.
What was like the most exciting or fulfilling thing you guys got to do as a like an event, let's say, or like something that happened that you think like, wow, it's so cool that I got to do that because I was part of RadioX?
Meeting Henry Rollins was cool.
Oh, that was after my time. See,
yeah,
that would have been.
I was going to go for the Henry Rollins, but Matt keeps, stealing my thunder.
Were you also there when the Goo Goo Dolls came to interview the Goo Goo Dolls?
No, I missed
He looks
out
very
on the
broken
Goo Goo
up
Dolls.
about it too.
Yeah, that the lead singer was a tool.
I will say Superstar Car Wash was a good album. All
right, fair enough.
I don't know if that's a hot take, because it's, like 30 years old, but
yeah, what about you, Jace? Are there things that, aside from Henry Rollins, that I stole from you?
Well, my big one was Henry Rollins, and
yeah,
because I got to do that interview with him. Yep. And it was really cool because the people at like the Northwind and all the other ones were just, all asking him about the song Liar. And he was so very impressed with all of their knowledge of his stuff. So I started asking about, where he grew up, because the stuff that I had read, and he kind of lit up, and it was fun because he was like, oh, somebody actually paid attention and did a little research before they came in and talked to me.
Yeah.
But the reason it was even better is, 20 some years later, I got to write a piece for this small magazine out of Detroit called Detroit Live, where my friend was an editor, and he was coming to town. So I wrote this write-up of him coming to town, and I wrote about, the whole write-up was about that experience of why you should go see him, because of what I got to do for him so many years ago. And he actually read it and said it was really good. So
that's cool.
That was probably one of the things. It wasn't as meaningful at the time, but it ended up being super meaningful later. And I never would have got that experience had I not worked at RadioX.
True.
That's amazing.
How about you?
I have too many, right? There was there was like the small, like the little, you mentioned interviewing Henry Rollins, and it brought me back to the one like person that I got to interview sort of, which was Michael Winslow. Do you remember him?
Oh yeah.
So he came in. I had done my homework. I didn't want to sit there and talk to him about Police Academy. I was going to find out everything else I could about this dude and talk about anything but Police Academy. He walks in with like his manager or whatever, sunglasses, takes them off, sits down, takes the pop filter off the microphone. And I said, so Michael, welcome to Marquette. And he just went into 10 minutes of sound effects, just like on the microphone the whole time. And then just stopped. And then I said, well, thanks for coming in. And he just left. And that was it. That was the whole interview. Of all the things I wish I had recorded was that. I don't even think I recorded it at the time because it happened so quickly. Like he came in,
that's incredible.
Exploded for 10 minutes and then left. There was helicopters and ambulances and babies. It was like someone was just pounding on the instant replay buttons. but it was a guy, right? And then that was amazing. But I guess the other thing was it kind of is two parts, right? Because a bunch of us got to go to the CMJ Music Festival out in New York City, and there was so many things we did. Like the trip out there was memorable. All the stuff we did, our sleeping arrangements, like there were so many things that happened in that trip that were just like cemented in your brain kind of stuff. Yeah. And then we met Emmylou Harris on the street with Daniel Lanois. They were like walking back from a show, and we got to see. I met what's his name, Sean Lennon. He was in disguise. He was in disguise at a show, but everyone knew it was him. It was super obvious, and it was just like all this other stuff. But then also at the same CMJ festival, we went to see the special night for the label that James Kachelka Superstar was on, and the Zambonis. Yeah, and so like the Zambonis played all their hockey stuff, and then James Kachelka was up there. And we're like, play a song about a monkey, and he's like, okay, and he did something, and then play a song about hockey and a monkey. He's like, well, actually, we do have a song, and then they played Hockey Monkey, and then like he came and sat at the bar, and we're like, yeah, we're from WPX. We charted your station. You sent us a liner with your you recorded a song for our station to play as a liner. And he's like, oh yeah, so he was chatting me up for a while, and I bought him a beer, and we got to talking and stuff. And I was like, yeah, if we wanted to have you come out and do a show, how do we make that happen? And then the next thing you know, we're putting together a show for them to come out. And that was a lot of fun. And the show itself, it started out great. Tons of people showed up, but it was a horrible ice storm that night. So a lot of people went home because they didn't want to get stuck at the UC. Yeah. But the guys in the band got there eventually. It took them a while, but I think they went to like Milwaukee or Chicago and then came up, and they're like, yeah, we just kept driving up the highway and seeing these cars in the ditches and going like, what do we do, guys? Well, we got a show. So they came up and played an awesome show, and I had to be the guy to go up to James Kachelka and say, hey, people know that you get naked on stage, and I'm the guy who has to tell you, please don't get naked on stage. And he's like, oh, okay. And he kind of winked. And so, like, of course, he got naked on stage. I didn't care. What are they going to do? Kick me out of the school? Right. But yeah, so that was the other thing. So it was kind of twofold, because meeting him out in New York and then having him come play at in Marquette was pretty awesome. So that was,
I thought you were gonna tell us that you yelled, play a song about a monkey and a robot, and he's like, well, I don't have that, but I'll write a book about it later.
Right. He does. Yeah.
Didn't he have a song, Monkey versus I know there was a comic book or something.
Yep, both. Yeah, he did both. Yeah, he's an accomplished children's author now, and he and I like go back and forth in conversations on Twitter pretty often, and we unexpectedly collaborated on a song recently.
Really?
I made some comment, and
is that the Patreon thing?
Yeah. Yep, because he has a Patreon and he records like 2 or 3 songs every day and pops them out on Patreon. But one day there was a picture, I can't even remember the whole story right, but I said, oh, I'm waiting for the song called blah 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 on Patreon, and so he recorded a song on Patreon or on Twitter for Patreon, and used my tweet as the lyrics, and then like recorded a song with it, and it was pretty funny and completely unexpected. And I was like, oh, cool! I've waited 27 years to collaborate on something with you. And this is what it is.
That's fantastic.
So, what about you, Matt? We've both answered this thing. What about you? What was your thing?
Well, I mean, definitely meeting my wife, I have to say.
Oh yeah, me too. Yep. That wasn't RadioX specific, though.
No, I don't. Well, I don't know that I would have had I not been at RadioX. But yes,
good point.
Yep.
I mean, that's how I met your wife, Matt. Was at RadioX.
Yeah, that's true.
I've never met your wife.
Really? That's weird.
I don't think I have. It's very odd. Yeah.
Yeah. She was a DJ for, I think, only maybe a year. Mm. Yeah, but the people that the bands that came in, like the Cry and Q show was awesome. Like that was so cool to just be in the room when it was all coming together and hearing how it sounded, and the fact that that small of a space held that big of a band and it sounded good was amazing. I mean, those things, but then also like for me, it was like a lot of the really little things, like the fact that you could go in that room at any time of any day, and there was at least one other person there who loved music, who you could just like sit down and be like, what are you listening to? And then you would start talking about music. Like that was the thing that made me want to keep coming back and to do, like you were saying, do those shows in the middle of the night and keep the transmitter on rather than shutting it down, because like there were people who were invested in it, and there were people who really just loved the whole process of music and radio and stuff like that. And right. So more so than any like one big thing, it was just those little things. Like it was just the people that were in and out of that station all the time.
Sure.
And that's like we had talked about before, like when you go there now, it's locked up and no one's in the room.
Yeah. It was like, when the last time you've been up there, Dave?
We were just figuring this out the other day. It was like 2014 or 15, something like that.
Yeah.
So Colleen's sister actually went to Northern too. And
cool.
The last time we went there was for her graduation. And we went by the station. We're like, well, we got to go see what's going on, right?
Yeah.
See if the ceiling tiles are there and all that kind of stuff. And it actually wasn't locked. There was whoever the guy was that was the station manager at the time was there, and he was like super hyped to have some alumni pop in.
That's cool.
And but like he wasn't DJing because he was really thrilled with all the work he had apparently personally put into automating the station.
Right.
And was like talking about how he did all this stuff, and we're like, oh, that's cool. And then like I thought, it'd be someone in there and we could look at the CDs, but I think the booth was locked and like but the station was open. It was weird. I don't know. It was it was a different vibe. Like you're saying, it wasn't like I think the couch was there, but like maybe
it's not there anymore.
It's not there anymore.
But it was like, it didn't feel like a place to go hang out. Like it wasn't the cool club on campus anymore for people like us. So
yeah, I mean, when we went in there, I mean, the door was locked. Now, granted, a pandemic was blowing in, so I guess maybe there's a reason for the door to be locked.
I've heard it normally is, though. So.
But yeah, it took Matt a while to get a hold of the station manager, and she finally, she came and let us in. She was good to her word and everything. And, we're sitting there playing songs and just, pretending it's 25 years ago. But we're talking to her in between songs, and she was like, yeah, there's nobody here. It's really cool to see the alumni come in and to hear all the stories about you guys, but there's nobody here 24 hours a day anymore. There's nobody turning the, transmitter on and off. They just don't have, they have, like we had 30 people on
at least
trying to fill all of those slots, 6 people on staff or something like that. They probably have, I'm just going to guess, and make 12 people total.
Oh, we had a waiting list and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
There was a waiting list.
Like just to get in the door.
Unless you just completely circumvented the process like I did. But
you just said, I will be a DJ. When should I show up?
Yeah. He could have said next semester, and I would have taken that answer. But
Dave, didn't you help build the shelves, the CD shelves?
He did. There's pictures of them somewhere.
Probably. I don't know.
Yeah.
I know. I've seen the pictures. You did help.
Yeah,
okay, thanks.
They're slowly getting rid of all the CDs.
I can imagine.
They're just putting them all on the computer. When we were there was, I don't know, I would say less than half of what was there before. You would think that, they get rid of stuff from time to time, but you'd think that there'd be progressively more CDs, and there was so many less CDs just because everything's on that computer now.
Well, it's funny to think too, because like when stuff came in, I would take time and go throw it on a cassette. I'd go in the production room and dump a CD onto a cassette if I really liked it. Or like later when we actually had a CD burner and the discs got cheap enough, I would like go burn some discs of stuff that they had at the station, like make a copy, right?
Definitely.
And now I can't even imagine just like, oh, here, let me just, well, you don't even have to copy the stuff to your hard drive. It's all just on Spotify. But I remember at one point where there was somebody who was DJing and they had plugged an iPod in and were playing songs off their iPod, or maybe it was even their like university issued laptop. And I just thought that was the coolest thing, that you could do that. Like you could bring your stuff in and play it that easily without having to, have your CDs and all that stuff that you would carry in. But
I was always too scared because I didn't know if my songs would have bad words that I just forgot about. I liked it better when I could see that someone with some sense of responsibility went through and marked the not suitable for airplay, because if it was my CD, I would be like, I would remember like 3 seconds too late. Oh yeah, this song says an F-bomb or something.
What was speaking of reviewing CDs and marking them up and stuff like that, what was like one of the albums that you got to review that like you're so proud that you were the one who got to review it now?
We've talked about this before. I never really got any of the super, super good ones. I remember vividly a band called Jack Drag that never went anywhere, but their album was called Dope Box, and I loved it. And I was so mad that nobody ever played it. Like, I wrote this really nice review, and I was like, "You guys got to check this out. It's really good." It was.
Is it around still? Like, can you
I don't
find
know.
it on...
I haven't looked it up, but it was good. Like, I thought this is going to start getting a lot of airplay, and people are going to, check it out, and it went nowhere. And I'm pretty sure the band just went nowhere too. But for some reason, that album sticks in my head as one of the ones that I really liked and reviewed, and it just went nowhere. But Jace, you had one you did, what was it, Incubus?
Okay. That was the one that I totally slammed at that album. And I said, these guys will go nowhere. And I was completely wrong. So it's probably a good thing I never worked for A&R for a record label. But the one that always comes up when somebody asks this type of question, Dave, is the Bloodhound Gang's One Fierce Beer Coaster. I got it, and I reviewed it, and I thought it was fantastic. I still love that album.
Yeah.
And it got, as we all know, that album blew up, and everybody was playing it. There's all kinds of stuff out of it. But that's the one that I can remember getting in, listening to it, and going, people need to play this. I mean, it's kind of stupid frat boy rock stuff, but it was catchy, and it was just on the edge of being completely inappropriate, but appropriate enough that you could play it.
Sure.
I mean, with a few edits.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
I wouldn't say it was completely appropriate.
But there were some, like, I did a lot of metal stuff too. And there was a couple albums that came through of bands, kind of like you mentioned Jack Drag. There was this one band called Imagica. And I know you hear the sound, it sounds just like Metallica, because you can tell they're really good. And I remember thinking, this is like, a lot of people should play, and nobody ever did.
That does sound kind of familiar. That name does, at least. But...
So it's the name of a book.
Jack Drag had 6 albums.
Oh, wow.
Their most recent was in 2018.
6 albums, 36 plays.
But is that one of those bands where like they recorded one album back in the 90s that was like their album that people know, and then they decided to get back together like 20 years later and then recorded the other 5 albums in the last 5 years?
I'm just Googling them now, so we'll have an update soon. I'm going to probably tweet them later. But
there you go.
But they, as of 2018, they still exist.
Well, I just looked up on my phone too, and I see that album is there, and I will listen to it to see what you were so excited about back in 1998.
I really overhyped it. I thought it was good when I was 17.
Oh man, that's great. I think the one for me that sticks out. I mean, the James Kachalka thing was big for us, but like it never went national or anything. But was the first Cake album, because I love that band, and I still think that's probably their best album. But
was that Fashion Nugget?
It was the one before Fashion Nugget. It was Motorcade of Generosity, which is just like from start to finish a perfect album.
It really is. Every song is excellent.
Yep. There's nothing wrong with that album at all. There's no filler. There's no weird self-indulgent. Well, Jolene, I guess, is kind of self-indulgent, but
I love that song.
But it is great, and it's so it's just from start to finish, it's an amazing album. So that would be my one.
So I just went to look, and I was like, wow, how did I miss that? I know I've heard stuff of it. They have a lot of past members in that band, just letting you know. Their list is huge.
Oh, yeah.
Cake.
It's really like one dude and like another guy, I think, that's...
And they just rotate musicians in to kind of get it
done. Yeah. If you go on the Wikipedia where it has that little line, that timeline of all the members and stuff, it's probably like 2 guys that are in it for the whole thing.
Yeah. Oh, I Bombed Korea. That's another good one from that album. I'm just looking at the list and remembering Rock and Roll Lifestyle. Obviously, that's a great one.
Now seeing the album cover, I totally remember that album.
Yeah.
Now. I was like, why am I spacing on this one?
It almost didn't make it into the station because I loved it so much. I listened to that thing so much before I brought it back.
It didn't make it in because JB got a hold of it and said, "What are you doing?"
No, he was the one who gave it to me. He's like, I think you might like this. You like stuff like They Might Be Giants. Or maybe that was what he said about James Kachalka.
Do you guys remember, I think I've asked you this, Jace. Do you remember a Michigan band called The Dopes?
I remember that band name.
They had that song, Drink a Beer and Smoke a Cigarette.
Oh, yeah.
And that got played so often, and I can't find that online anywhere. That's one of those RadioX songs that I cannot find.
I think I want to say I heard that after, even like when I was working in Wisconsin or something.
I think it was just called Dabsac, DABSAC.
Jeez, no wonder.
They opted to abbreviate it, but I don't think it's anywhere online. That's another song. If you're out there, why don't you have that song?
They have a Facebook page. I'm on it right now.
Is it the same one? Is it The Dopes? Can you find that song?
Give me a second.
Listeners,
it's The Dopes, and they go by musician band. That's how they identify. So that's about as far as I've gotten right now. So I'll have to get back with you.
Yeah, that's one of the ones. Like, because every once in a while we would get albums or artists that like didn't really go anywhere, and they stick in my brain and I can't find them again. Like when I try to make those RadioX playlists and it's like, there'll be a song. I've definitely found Bumblebee Tuna, but I have not been able to find Drink a Beer and Smoke a Cigarette. And it was a fun little song, but it's lost to the ether.
Well, they're on Bandcamp, so now I'm headed over there.
Oh boy.
There you go. Bandcamp or what's SoundCloud? You got to check there too, because you definitely would have found Robot Party over on SoundCloud.
Yeah, but like, how did I not check SoundCloud? It's probably because all the people I know who have bands are on Bandcamp, so I'm on there more often than I'm
on. Maybe I need to go throw it over on Bandcamp. But here's the problem. I can't log into my SoundCloud account anymore because I used an email address that's associated with a former employer. So,
darn it.
There it is.
Lesson learned. Use your personal email account.
I have zero way of updating that SoundCloud page.
Well, I ripped it off that SoundCloud page, so there's actually an easy SoundCloud ripper out there that you can pull everything down from.
I'll do it. I'll start a Bandcamp, and you guys can pay me $1 for that song.
Perfect.
But do it on a Friday when the bands get all the money.
Oh, true. Is that true?
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know how often they do it now, but especially during the pandemic, it was like once a month. There was Bandcamp Friday, and they would every purchase you made, all the money went to the band instead of anybody else.
Oh,
yeah, because a lot of the cover artists I was listening to were really pushing it when they would do those days, because you could go buy their cover stuff because they knew you probably weren't going to buy their originals, so you'd get their originals along with the covers, and bam, they'd get all the money from it.
Yep.
Nice. All right. Any other stories that we should get through, because this is the time to reminisce about what went on when we were newly formed adults?
Yeah, and I was saying, since you were a little bit before us, Dave, you know about the transition from West Hall over to the University Center. That was before Matt and I's time, probably about a year or so.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I was there about a year before you guys showed up, but it was okay. So it was like this really old mixing board in basically a dorm room. And, it was, how the suites were in the dorms.
Yep.
There was 2 dorm rooms with a bathroom connecting it.
Yeah.
There wasn't a bathroom connecting the rooms, but you could go like next door. I think the record room was the next room over or something like that in the station. And then, like I was saying, upstairs, it was like the office and the production studios upstairs or something. And and it was a really nice setup. It was, it's kind of weird because you're in a dorm, but I don't know how loud you could really be with other people around, especially if you're there at 6 a.m. But it was pretty soundproof.
So it was in the middle of like the dorms, like there were people living on either side of it.
No, it was all the way at the end.
Oh, okay.
It was all the way at the end of the dorm.
It's very pump up the volume.
Yeah, it was kind of cool. And because they originally were cable FM before they went broadcast FM, and I think AM at some point before that. But but it was WUPX when I started there, and it was FM, and then like I went away for summer break and came back, and everything had gotten moved over to the new station building, and the UC was undergoing renovations my freshman year, so it was like that whole building was different by the time I got back the sophomore year. And yeah, that was the place from there on out. It was just, it instantly smelled like a lot of people hung out there all the time. But you couldn't really do that at the old station, right? Like there wasn't like a hangout area next to the DJ booth. Like business. When you walked in the room, you were in, it was, you were pretty much next to the console. There wasn't an airlock really, but wow. It was great. I remember buying the computer, the production computer. Mark Bromer and I think put that together, and I remember being told that we weren't allowed to buy they said get a black and white monitor for it because that will be cheaper than getting a color monitor. And it actually turned out not to be true, because black and white monitors are not a normal thing and would have cost a lot more money than a color monitor. But
you need this to look like an IBM 386 or a 286. Could you work that out for us?
But so that was all I knew about the transition so much. Like, we did a lot of stuff like building those shelves and stuff like that afterwards, decorating the place and all of, the multitude of times we took all the CDs off the shelf and put them back on in a different arrangement. But
they typed them up and put them in that book.
Yeah. Right. Wow.
The old Bible of CDs.
Wow, that was after my time. But we always still had that little green screen computer to check the stats, the logbook,
the transmitter readings.
Yeah. Yep. Because that was something someone at some point ever asked us about.
We needed a whole giant file cabinet full of this stuff nobody would ever read.
Like, everybody had it in their head that some guy with a suit and a name badge was going to show up and be like, "Excuse me, I need to look at this book that a college student wrote numbers in at 3 a.m.
This legally binding document."
we had a report that your signal went up a little bit.
They caught it all halfway across Lake Superior, not just a quarter way across Lake Superior on a ship.
Indeed.
Yeah. So some guy from the slams his briefcase down on the desk. Give me your transmitter readings.
I'd like to see that binder full of old FCC cards too, please. Well, I'm here. I may as well check it. Standard protocol. So you guys were probably the last people I hung out with in Marquette after graduation. For some reason, I think you guys were still around, and I was just like checking in on people before I graduated and moved away. Yeah. And I remember hanging out, and I remember sitting on the big, what was it? The turd or the snake? The worm.
Yes.
The worm.
I remember hanging out on that thing.
That's so funny.
Yep.
So that was in my apartment.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was just before you left?
Yeah, that was like probably a day or two before Colleen came back from visiting her folks downstate, and then we went down to Madison. Boom.
Wow.
Like, that was it. Yeah. You guys, and then there was one time with Bridget. I was working, and she called me and said, "Hey, I'm on whatever the station was at the time, and I'm going to be giving away a prize, and so just call in at this time and you'll win it." It's like, all right. And it was dinner for two for Red Lobster. And so then Bridget and I went to Red Lobster and had dinner. And while we were there, this just popped in, while we were there eating, a car in the parking lot caught on fire.
Oh,
and the fire department had to come and put it out.
Wow.
It was crazy. But yeah.
You were rolling high if you got to eat at the Red Lobster in Marquette at that point.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that was great. The only other time it was when a family member would come visit. They might take you there.
Or if you got crazy with your overage check or something like that.
Oh, good Lord, no, that was all beer. Go to the Red Lobster. Go to the port side with that.
Well, so it's about that time where we typically wrap up. But Dave, thank you so much for chatting with us. This is it's so fun, to see you and to hear some of the stories that either we forgot or that we just weren't necessarily there for. But
can I throw 2 quick memories at you? I just because there's one thing we didn't talk about, Matt, that maybe you'll remember now. So Robot Party wasn't the only super popular song. Do you remember Nico the Cat?
I remember the name.
I recorded a very short song called Nico the Cat, and it was I don't know, 30 seconds long at the most, and I somehow convinced you and Bridget to both play it simultaneously at midnight on the respective stations that you worked for. So,
oh my God.
Which were like the 2 largest stations in the UP. So I got you guys to play a song about my cat simulcast across.
Man, do you still have that song?
Oh, I don't know about that one. It would be great if I could find it.
I would for sure remember if I heard it.
And then the other thing I wanted to because you and I kind of chatted about this the other day, Matt. So when we're recording this, it was just September 11th and 20th anniversary of that.
Right.
And when I was at I had just started living in Boston. I was there less than 2 weeks when everything happened, and in fact, Colleen had come with me to work that day to print her resume to go to a temp agency.
Yeah.
So she just happened to be with me. But you and I would chat like on, I think it was probably like Yahoo Messenger or whatever the one was popular at the time, and we would just chat in the mornings and stuff because you were working at a station. I thought it was in Vegas, but I think you said it was.
I was still in Michigan. Yep.
So, but you were like, go turn on the news. I said, why? What happened? And then you explained, and so you kind of like broke the news to me about what had happened.
Right.
And and that it was just like you were this weird part of my Boston story, and like that, the moment that changed our country and stuff. And it just popped up as a Facebook memory thing the other day, and so I thought it was really cool that we got to catch up. And I don't know if you ever knew that story, so I would just.
Thank you for sharing that. I remember that we would definitely, just chat on the messenger, and like you had just gotten there recently, and I think was that when like the big dig was going on or something.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. And you would tell me about that, like this giant hole in the city, and yeah, definitely I remember that. That's crazy.
Yeah. So anyway, I just wanted to make sure I shared that because, in 24 years when we catch up again.
Right. So. Exactly. I know. I don't do any of that online. I mean, I do Twitter now. That's my Twitter.
Yeah. Well, now I know how to get you. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Usually we wrap up, and it's been a while since we've done this, Matt. So I just wanted to remind you that usually we wrap up with what we've been listening to lately.
Oh yeah.
And then we do a song lyric. It's like, Dave, you're like on show number 1 that's actually 19.
Exactly. So what
We've
have you been listening to?
18 of these before, but now this is number 1 all over again. What have I been listening to?
Yeah.
I actually haven't been listening to a lot of music this week because I've been super busy with family stuff. So it's just been kind of whatever is on in the car when I get in, or whatever pops up on my Bluetooth when it connects to the stereos, which is probably a lot of Gaslight Anthem or Frank Turner or something like that. It seems to always be playing. But since we're doing a podcast, I figure it's a good time to bring this up. The podcast that got me into podcasting released their 3rd season. It's called Up and Vanished. It's a pretty like, if you're into true crime stuff, it's a pretty famous one. But that's kind of what I've been listening to. That and To Live and Die in L.A., which is another true crime one, and actually it has the guitar player from Incubus in it. Believe it or not, there's a weird tying things up, and that's not why I'm listening to it. But he just happens to be one of the people who's helping to find this girl who's missing. But that's pretty much what I've been listening to. That and whatever's on the playlist that just randomly pop up in the car.
So I have to give a shout out to a radio station that doesn't suck, because I just found
there's two left.
I found one of them, and they're called Rocky 98.5 out of somewhere in the central Pennsylvania area. I'm not sure where, but they actually have been playing not your typical rock music. They'll play like a mix of standard rock, album oriented rock, and then they'll throw in really things that don't get played anymore. Like they've been playing Tool, and they've been playing just some artists that you're like, wow, radio doesn't really give these people nods anymore. And this station has been. So if you like to listen to radio stations online, I'm sure they have an online presence. If you live in Pennsylvania, you might be able to hear them, Rocky 98.5. But the new music I've been listening to is the new Kings of Leon. If you're a fan, I don't know, they've gotten a little mellower over the last few years, certainly. But it's good. It's not as good as some of their other ones. It's When You See Yourself, I think it's called, is the name of the album, but it's a good one. And they have a lot of those slow burn rock songs that aren't like super dancey, but they're more like, I don't know, I don't want to say they're Bruce Springsteen-y, but they just have sort of a building.
Are they telling stories about the Midwest?
They're telling
like
stories.
Very John Cougar Mellencamp or something.
I wouldn't go that far.
Do they have a song called Little Pink Houses?
They're no Jack Drag, but they are good. So I would definitely recommend, if you aren't a fan of Jack Drag, you may be a fan of the new Kings of Leon album. And the new Killers album I'm angry at, so I'm not going to even talk about it.
Oh my gosh. Have you at least tell me you found that there's the abridged version without all the preamble talking on each track?
Is there?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah. It's a little better when you do that, but every song
is like has this like, I mean, I think that there were at least 3 people hit by trains.
Oh my gosh.
And
Hillbilly Heroin was in at least 2 songs. Yeah.
It's, I don't know. I mean,
It's not what I'm looking for from those guys.
Yeah. I don't hate it, but it's not what I'm looking for either. So I have been listening to it reluctantly, and I've been just switching over to Kings of Leon. That's my, yeah. How about you, Dave? Other than what's been playing on SoundHound.
So for one thing, if you guys want to look and explore and find radio stations, if you found this website, it's called radio.garden. And it's basically the globe, and there's little dots all over it. And you when you scroll over to the little dots, you can hear radio stations from that area.
That is amazing.
Didn't Jeff bring that up?
Someone brought it up to us.
I think that was Jeff brought that up to us.
Jeff's smart. Yeah,
and you just zoom in, and it's like every place on the map has like a little dot, and you click.
Yeah, like I don't know if I could listen to Radio X on there, but like there was, there were some UP stations and stuff like that. Podcasts, you guys mentioned. Do you listen to Song Exploder?
Yes.
That was kind of a big deal for a while.
I like Song Exploder. And they
Song
have a
Exploder's
Netflix
good.
show too, which I've seen a couple episodes that are awesome.
And the Killers are on there.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other podcast, I would not as many, I don't think is as popular as Song Exploder is. It's called 20,000 Hertz.
Oh,
and it's basically about sound and audio production. And I would say like listen to like some of the more recent episodes, but like go back to the start. It's consistently excellent every single episode, and it's just really cool to hear them do like a deep dive on like music notes, like specific music notes sometimes, or like it'll be like ancient recording techniques, just like all kinds of different stuff. Like what does it sound like in outer space? And then they do like a whole. It's really awesome.
I would love that,
and it's really well done. Music wise, I guess my like middle-aged dad favorite right now is I always go back to Dawes. I don't know if you guys have listened to them.
Yeah.
But I way into those guys. When I went to see them play at like an outdoor festival in a smaller town, like on the coast north of Boston. I think it was in New Hampshire even, and it was basically like a town festival where you pay $10 to get in, and they played for 3 hours because they didn't have an opener. It was just like I was just in heaven. I'm like, this is the best. I'm 10 feet away from the band. And then the other one was I guess I'd throw out there just because it's new to me and I'm excited. This just popped up for me and it like flipped a lot of switches. It's called Lone Lady, Lone Lady.
I saw that one on your Twitter. I was I gotta check this out.
Yeah, it was like all of a sudden, like the Spotify algorithm honed in on something for me, and it was like, oh, here's this artist, and I look and like and you can look and see like how where they're from and all that kind of stuff, and it was like 4,000 monthly listeners or something like that. I'm like, oh wow, that's cool, fun to get on the ground floor again. Yeah. Like I always like finding stuff like that, so check it out. It's kind of like electronic dancey stuff. If you ever listen to LaRue, like with that song Bulletproof, it's very similar style to that kind of thing. So anyway,
if you like female fronted pop stuff, I keep pushing this one band on folks, and they're called Kississippi. That's the lead singer goes by Kissy, I guess.
Oh,
but
okay.
they had she just had an album come out. She's out of Philadelphia, and it's called Mood Ring, and it's good. It's good poppy stuff. There's another band out there called Cat Bite. They're a ska band.
Oh yeah,
and they've got some good stuff going on too.
So KISSISSIPPI.
Yeah, Mississippi with a K, so it's Kississippi.
One Kississippi. So I think you said female-fronted bands. You know what I really like is bands where there's a male and a female that trade off lead vocals.
Like Matt
and
Kim?
That's cool.
Not like Matt and Kim so much, but more like Stars. They're a band from Canada. They do a lot of that kind of stuff. I mean, it's like that human lead thing, kind of like where they're kind of trading a story back and forth a little bit more. So
what's the band that had a hit that was they played that song? You know what I'm talking about.
You know that song?
I'm pretty sure I just said the Human League. Yes,
of Monsters and Men.
Oh yeah, there you go. Yep, exactly. Right there on my
Arcade Fire.
Yeah, sure. Not as often, but that happens, and it's always great when it does. Yep.
Yeah.
Anyway,
but definitely
it was great catching
not
up
Matt
with you
and Kim,
guys.
but definitely not Matt and Kim.
I mean, they're all right. I saw them live once. They opened for somebody. I can't remember who they opened for.
I always find them very entertaining.
They were very energetic live. Like recorded, it wasn't as exciting, but yeah.
So we've reached the end of another episode of XRadioX, and I'm Jace. Some of them are Davids.
And I'm David, but most of us are Daves.
And I'm Matt. They all have their own hands,
but we come from different moms. And that's it, folks. That's XRadioX.
Peanut butter jelly,
You're still here. The podcast is over. Go home.